Hi everyone, and welcome back to Art with Mrs. S. Today we're working on your Davis Digital textbook, and you're also going to need some supplies today. So if you haven't picked up your art materials from Haley Elementary, there are still some art materials left, or art kits. They have things like scissors and glue and paper, and some even have things like oil clay. So you might need that to help you out. If you already have everything, then you're ready to roll. So what you'll need today, you'll want some scissors, you'll also need some glue, and you'll want some varieties of construction paper and possibly even crayons or markers or something to draw or color with. So I have my little scissors here, and then I have my glue and lots of different colors. I would also like you to pick out a color that's going to be kind of your base or your background. So mine, I picked blue. Blue is just a nice color for sky, or just if you're doing any kind of scene or landscape, it's a good base color to start with. So I'm looking at page 52 here. It says neighborhood buildings. Some artists plan how buildings look. These artists are called architects. Look at the building in picture A on page 52. Find shapes like the ones in picture B. In picture B on page 53, it looks like there's a circle, a blue triangle, and then I can't describe this other way. It kind of looks like an elongated semicircle and a rectangle. I have to look that one up. And I can see some of those in this building, especially that triangle. You'll see rectangles a lot, and semicircles and ovals. So think of those shapes and how we can use those in our designs and in our buildings. We're going to go ahead and get started pretty quick here. I'm going to show you a couple of tips and tricks. It does not matter how many buildings you have. It does not matter how many different shapes you use, or if you have overlapping, and don't try to copy mine. Please feel free to make your own. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add like a road in here. So all I'm going to do, because it's hard to see on black, is cut this into a long rectangle to create a road. And in both the examples on page 53, it does show a road, but you could do green grass like on page 52. It depends on where your buildings are and what they're looking like. So that was one simple trick, just cutting the paper in half because it's already a rectangle. That's going to create some other more simple rectangles. And if you cut the edges or those corners out to make your shape, it's going to be a lot easier to cut a lot of shapes in a short amount of time. So I can just add in these little lines or dashed lines to create a very quick flat road. And I'll glue those down here when I'm finished. You can pick any color you want for the buildings. It looks like the example in the book, it looks like someone's using magazines or maybe even newspaper. So if you don't have construction paper, get creative if you're not able to go get your materials. You could also color these shapes and cut them out. Don't use it as an excuse. I always give digital art as an option too. I don't feel like you get as many skills in that way, but you could also do this on your computer to create a city using shapes. There you go. I have two very quick buildings, and I can even use my scrap to create another building. So keeping those shapes simple, those cuts simple, will actually make your job a little easier here too. I can cut some more small rectangles to create things like doors and windows and just those details on the building itself. Go straight across, cutting away from myself, chomping. They don't all have to be the same. This could be a little door. You could use a marker or a crayon or colored pencil to add those details in. You can add in those lines for the windows. You can add in door handles and doorknobs or other designs you might see in your building. Put this in my house over here. You can draw some shapes on too. Mostly right now I've used rectangles, but I might cut a couple squares here to give my art some variety. And then what I'll do is actually add a few triangles here too. If you want to add in other details like a sun or clouds or trees, feel free to do that. Squares are a little tougher to make. You can kind of cheat a little bit, do some overlapping. Have a nice square. If you need to draw a triangle, feel free to do that too. What I like to do to save time, I take a square or rectangle and cut diagonally, and I have a very quick and simple and pretty straight roof to add to these little buildings. And I can keep using other scraps. Sometimes that makes it easier if I'm cutting those straight lines to add some variety and some details to my other buildings. Do one more rooftop. I might try to make that semicircle kind of one. It's a little harder to do those, so if it helps you, you can either trace something or if you draw it first. Those rounded lines are a little trickier, a little more complex. Cut those in half to make kind of this weird looking roof. You can add things like flags and, like I said, clouds, or there's even a car in the other design. When you're all done cutting your shapes, don't forget to glue them down. You can use Runny Elmer's glue, or I have stick glue here. And then, of course, don't forget to take a picture and post a Padlet with your first and last name and classroom teacher. Thanks for joining me today. I can't wait to see all of your wonderful shapes in your buildings. Have a great day.